Shalom. Shalom. Alright, bear with me. Shalom. Bear with me 1 second. Alright, Shalom. Shalom. I want to start off, of course, giving all honor and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Rawchaa, HAQADASH. Double honors to our apostles and our elders, a great millstone, who will teach well in sound doctrine. Strong shalom to the hopeful elect and the rest of the large multitude of men, women, and children. That the Lord will have mercy on these last days. Brother HAQADASH, Rawchaa, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, Lord willing, it's edifying. Make sure we got sound. Alright, so as you can see by the title, it says Yahawashi Many Reincarnations, Part 1, Adam. Alright, so we're going to tap into Adam real quick. And then, Lord willing, the other series, we're going to tap into Melchizedek. We're going to tap into Isaac. Alright. Real quick, let me see. Alright, so my sound good. So, yeah, so now I'm gonna be in the book. Alright, so let me see. We're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna share the screen like this. Let's do it like that. Cause this is really all we need. I'm gonna just be in the book, Lord willing, it's edifying. We're gonna do it like that. Alright, so I'm gonna read this first. It says, reincarnate, well, Alright, now this is, the etymology, okay, of reincarnation, so you can get an understanding. The word means back, incarnation means flesh. Alright, so when you put it together, it means back in the flesh. So the word it means back, here. Back to the original place. Alright. Let's go to the word incarnation. This is etymology, online etymology dictionary. Alright. Which you can go to etymonline.com, which etymology means the study of words, or the study of truth, or however way you see your definition. It says damn, this ain't what I want. It's like incarnation. I went to the wrong one. It's like it. Incarnation. Alright, it says the act of being made flesh. You see that? So incarnation is dealing with the flesh. Means back, so back in the flesh. All right. So with that in mind, okay, meaning back, incarnation means flesh. All right. Shalom Akim. Yahawashi, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. Rock a thumb to the brothers. GMS Cleveland. Meaning back, incarnation means flesh. All right, so to get that out the way, now we're gonna the bridge point we're gonna be using is Romans 5. We're gonna stay in Romans 5, and we're gonna bring precepts to match it up in Romans 5, right? All right, so I'm gonna start at Romans 5 and 9, and then I'll probably show it on here, but I'm gonna read it in the book. All right, I'll probably just do that. So we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna show it here, and then we're gonna read it in the book though, just so everybody can read along if you're watching the screen. This is Romans 5, and we're gonna start at 9. That's Satan, man. Oh my God, what is this, bro? It's like it. All right, there we go. Romans 5, and then we're gonna start at verse 9. All right, here we go. Satan funny, man. All right, I had to share the screen again because Satan crashed the damn window. All right, let's do it again. All right, thank you. All praise to Yahawashi. All right, so it says Romans 5 and 9. It says, much more than being now. Matter of fact, you know what? Matter of fact, I probably will use the screen. We're gonna do it like this. I want to start off before I read Romans 5. Let's get two precepts real quick that came to mind real quick. Let's get Sirach, right? Because you got to understand, Yahawashi and his reincarnations is symbolic and it mirrors Israel, okay, being what? That balance with Yahweh Shem Yahawashi, okay, being, Israel fall and Israel's rise, okay, was symbolic for the fall of Adam and the rise of Adam, okay, because why? When you go to Romans 8 and 16 and 17, it says what? We are joint heirs with Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. And really it's going into the elect, but Israel as a whole, we're married unto the Father, right? So with that being said, we got to understand that everything Yahawashi did for us and everything that took place and why it took place and how it took place, all of it is symbolic for Israel as a whole. Okay, see, that's what people got to understand. So we're gonna go to Sirach real quick. Oh, now it's the spirit. We in Sirach right here. Let's go to Sirach. We're gonna go to all right, first I want to go to as a matter of fact, let's get this first. Let's go to Proverbs real quick, and then we're gonna come back to Sirach. Let's go to Proverbs 11 in verse 1. It says, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh Shem Yahawashi, but a just weight is his delight. Right? So a false balance is an abomination. So we know the Lord is balanced. He's just. Okay? So in order to have balance, you have to have yin and yang, if as the world call it. Okay, you got the sun, you got the moon, you got day, you got night. That's the balance. Okay, you got good, you got evil, you got man, you got female. Okay, that's the balance. Okay, so from there, let's go to Sirach, chapter 33. And we're going to go straight to the point. This is Sirach 33. And, man, damn, there's so much meat in here. I love this chapter. Let's just start right here. It says, let's start at 7. Why doeth one day excel another when all the light of every day is in the year? All the light of every day in the year is of the sun. But by the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. Some of them have he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them had he made ordinary days, right? So this is the balance of Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. You have ordinary days and you have high holy days. All men are from the ground. Adam was created of earth. Okay? It says in much knowledge. So the point of Yahawashi being the first Adam and the last Adam, as we're going to get in Revelation 22, Yahweh Shem Yahawashi said he's the first and the last. That was so the what? So remember he said he should it's an old covenant, it's a thing called the old covenant, and it's a thing called the new covenant, right? The old covenant is dealing with the what? The stone written on those stony hearts. The Lord said he's going to take away those stony hearts of flesh, and he's going to give us the flesh, meaning a new identity. Okay, for example, quick example, I'm not going to pull it. You could go into it on your own. When you go into Revelations, damn, I just grabbed it real quick. You go to Revelations chapter 3 real quick in 21. It tells you, it says, unto Adam also and to his wife did Yahweh Shem Yahawashi make coats of skin and clothe them. So Yahweh Shem Yahawashi gave what? A new identity to the Adamites before we were called Israelites. which was all purpose for a reason. But then that was the Lord did away with that, and He gave it was all about the flesh, the first part. But then it became all about the spirit. That was what the whole goal was supposed to be about, so that the Lord can categorize those who need to be categorized according to the flesh, meaning what? According to the carnal mind state. You see, which ultimately was going to overtake the whole world, so the Lord can what? Magnify His name through the spiritual aspect of it all, which is what we're in now, that phase. So when the Lord gave us a new identity, when you go into Ezekiel 37, He said He gave us a what? Flesh. Okay, He gave us flesh, meaning what? A new identity. Okay, so He's taking away them stony hearts and giving us a heart of flesh, meaning a new identity, being those spiritual bodies, those bodies undefiled that can never be tainted or tarnished ever again. Okay, so just to brush that up, and then you go into back to where we was at. It says, "And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth." So this is that what that new this the first identity, and then we have a new identity as we're gonna make it make sense through the spirit and power of Yahawashi of why Yahawashi was the first Adam and He is the last Adam, because it was a purpose. In much knowledge, the Lord have divided them and made their ways diverse, so everything has its balance. Okay, some of them have He blessed and exalted, and some of them have He sanctified and set near Himself. But some of them have He cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. You have Israel, a prince of the power of Yahawashi, and then you have what? The Edomites, the wicked of the earth, the ones who are responsible to push that vibration into the earth. He's the man of death. He's the man of sin. Yahawashi and Yahawashi and Israel being what? The righteous, the vibration of the heavens. So you got that balance. You got night and you got day. It says, as the clay is, that's why the scriptures refer to Esau as the thief. Okay, the one that entered into houses, et cetera, like it says in Job 24 and Job chapter 10. It says, as the clay is in the potter's hands to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of Him that made him to render to them as liketh him best. Here it is. Good is set against evil, in life against death, right? You got something called death, and you got something called life. It says, so is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So that's the balance. So look upon all the work. So He's saying here, look at everything in the world that's created. And there are two and two, one against another. So that's the balance of Yahawashi, which is why Yahawashi had to be the first Adam, and He had to be the last Adam that quickened His spirit. You see, because why? The Lord is not creating new spirits on the earth. He created all spirits in its proper manner, and all the spirits create, or all the spirits what? Enter into their lots, and they fulfill their lots whenever though they're spinning that wheel per se. Okay, so which is why the prophets are, like it says in 1 Corinthians, the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets, because you're not going to have some new type of prophet. Okay, you're going to have the prophets that was old being the prophets in the new time, just in different bodies, to fulfill everything that need to be filled according to that prophet or that man. Okay, it says, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. And then if you go to the next chapter, Sirach 39, just one more to warm us up. Sirach 39, because this don't even have to be long. We're just gonna we're flowing through the spirit. Sirach 39, and let's get one more. It says 26, the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, salt, flour, and wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing. Right? These are all things that are the necessities of a man. Okay? And man, I mean, like, I'm covering all man and woman and child. Like it's like you can read in Genesis chapter 6 when it says Adam. It says He called their names Adam, meaning like his man and woman. So when I say man in this context, I'm talking about man, woman, and child. And these are the necessity things that make us, live, in the carnal sense of things. It says all these things are for good to the godly. Right. So these things we see that the Most High created for principal use, the godly use for their benefit, to become better and to grow and to get closer to the Lord. But the same things we use, like stones, okay, we use stones, as you can see here, made by the brother uh, Omar, okay, from GMS Cleveland. Brother makes some beautiful jewelry, man. Uh, this is a stone. The same thing that we use, like stones, right? What else? Shit, the Hebrew tongue, because you cannot even put up a curse unless it's in the Hebrew tongue. I show it all the time, but if you look at the pentagram, it has Hebrew letters around it. They can't even use Satanism on the left hand side without the Hebrew tongue. So everything we use for our benefit, from water to meditating to praying, the same things we use, even the things we just read in verse 26, the sinner, it says, so to the sinner they are turned into evil. That wicked man is going to use those same things just on the left hand side, and that's what Esau does. Okay, because the Lord bless him, right? Genesis 27, to have the fatness of the earth, but he's using the resources just on the left hand side. That's why it says Isaiah 29, he turned everything upside down. So when you go to 2nd Ezra chapter 4, it said the Lord is going to turn everything right side up. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to show that real quick. So why? Because why? Everything has its balance. Okay, so let's go into it. We're gonna go to Romans. Might as well stay on here since I'm on here. Let's go to Romans 5, and we're gonna start at verse 9. Yahawashi, this is the first part. Like I said, I'm gonna cover all the reincarnations of Yahawashi through the Spirit, Lord willing. This is Romans 5, and let's go to verse 9. It says, much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. The through him is Yahawashi HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So we're going to be saved through his sacrifice, because he was the lamb without blemish. That's another example of the Lord changing the mindset and shifting everything to the spirit, which it was always intended to be spiritual. Okay, because the Lord is a spirit, and we must worship him in truth and spirit. The Lord said what? Let me go back to that. The Lord said, so it says, much more than being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from the wrath through him. Right? The Lord did, we went off, we did that, and the Lord turned his face, he turned his power, and he turned that help away from us. You know what I'm saying? He turned that communication off. But then he gave us Yahawashi in his pure form, which in the old covenant, we took a lamb, and it was faulty, not the covenant in itself, but we were faulty, because we would take the lamb and we could cut the lamb in half, and we'd go present it to the Lord and to offer up a sacrifice, but we'd have another lamb in the back because we knew we was about to sin later on. So the Lord did away with that, right? Because he was always going to do away with that mindset, the flesh. Okay, he had to do it like that so that he can embody the wicked and be done with the wicked, as we're going to get in 1 Corinthians 15. Okay, so the Lord can just conquer death, the whole concept of death. Ultimately showing his power, his true essence. Like it says in Romans 9:17, as the Lord rose up Pharaoh, he rose up Esau to show his his wrath, his glory, his might, his essence, his omnipotency, man, his omnipotence. Okay, it says for verse 10, for when we were enemies, we were reconciled. When you go into that word reconcile, it means bring back something you once knew. To reconcile a friendship. Okay, I can't reconcile something that I never had an agreement with. So he says we were reconciled to Yahawashi by the death of his son. So we're brought back into the fold by the death of his son. So he became that perfect lamb. You got to realize, why you think Yahawashi wasn't dealing with women when he came on the scene, when he was with the apostles? Because he already did that when he was who? Adam. He already did that when he was who? Solomon. You see? So when he came back in his purest form, he wasn't dealing with women. He focused on he straight focused on the 12 and the elect, man. Okay? That's what the mission is about. So that's the mission we pushing right now. Like, you got IUIC, got women out there bugged out, teaching and doing all the manners of wickedness, man. Showing you that they're not walking in who? The spirit of Yahawashi. It's easy to determine between caps, man. That's why I thank the Father for Yahawashi. I thank Yahawashi Yahawashi for the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, man. You know, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. It says, much more being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life. All right, it's about to get heavy. It says, and not only so, but we also joy in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom we have now received the atonement. Hold on now. Can't skip over that because the atonement, I'm going to bring it out in part 2, dealing with Melchizedek. But who is Yahawashi? He's the high priest. Okay, he's the high priest of the heavens. So in order to be that, what did the Levites do? The Levites, they were the priests. Okay, they were our mediator between us and the Lord, or Yahweh. Yahawashi is the ultimate high priest, which we're going to get dealing with Melchizedek. That's why Abraham said, that's why the Lord said before Abraham I was. Abraham gave tithes to Melchizedek because he's the high priest. He's Yahawashi. So being in the essence, what does that mean? Read it again. It says, just continue. It says, by whom we have now received the atonement. The Levitical priesthood. What? When the High Holy Day Atonement came around, or when they were doing atonement for their sins, the Levitical priesthood were what? Before they deal with the congregation, they were atoned for their own sins first, and then the people. Well, that in a sense, that's what Yahawashi did. Okay, not saying Yahweh, because Yahawashi doesn't have sin in him, but when he was in his other lives, like as Solomon, and Adam, because he had to fulfill prophecy, right? He had to be the one that did it. He atoned for his ways through those bodies, okay, and then Israel as a whole. If that makes sense, you have to have ears and eyes to see, and ears to hear. So it says, because that's what a high priest do. It says, wherefore, as by one man, now watch this, by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. And so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. Right, quick precept. I'm going to come back to 12, Romans 5 and 12. When you go to, matter of fact, we're going to stay in Romans. Let's go to Romans, let's do it like this, it's quicker. When you go to Romans 11, this was the whole purpose, man. Romans 11, we're going to jump down to the point. It says, this is Romans 11, and let's start at, matter of fact, let's start right here. 28, as concerning the gospel. So this is doctrine, this is gospel, right? They are enemies for your sake, but as touching the election. So remember, it's all about the election. This is why the Lord had everything take place the way it is. They are beloved for the Father's sake. For the gifts and calling of Yahweh are without repentance. For as ye in times past have not believed Yahweh Basham Yahushua, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. Why? Because what is this talking about? When you go into 26, it says, and so all Israel should be saved. So the whole house of Israel is going to be saved. It's just that the purging of the 2/3 has to happen by fire. The elect purging is happening right now by what? Fire through the Spirit. You see? So jumping back down, it says, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. Because the elect is going to set up that, they are the government, the house of David. They're going to set up the righteous, they're the first fruits, meaning they're the first of its kind, meaning the kingdom that's going to be produced on the earth. It says, for the gifts and calling of Yahweh are without repentance, for as in times past have not believed, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. So the Lord had to put all of us in the unbelief state so that he can have mercy, ultimately have mercy upon the whole house of Israel. Is that not what the split was about? When he cast us off, when you go to Jeremiah 3, he said he gave us a bill of divorce. He said Judah had looked upon the ways of Israel being a northern kingdom, and we took on their ways. So does that mean what? The Lord included the whole house of Israel in the same bubble, okay, so that he can ultimately have mercy upon the whole house of Israel. You see? Even so have these also now not believed that through your mercy, who mercy? The elect, they also may obtain mercy. For the Most High, Yahweh Yahushua, have concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. So that's the point. So if we go back to Romans, why? Because that's that balance again that we've been going into. The reason why Yahawashi was Adam, and the reason why he's the last Adam. It says Romans 5 and what was we at? 12. It says, wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. And so, because why? Ultimately, to destroy the man of sin. And so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed where there is no law. You see? It says, nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgressions, right? So we all fell under that umbrella of sin. Who is the figure? What does this say? Adam, it was the what? Figure of him that was to come. Because that's literally talking about who? Yahawashi. Yahawashi, it says who is the figure of him to come, meaning what? The perfected state of his essence. Okay, even though he was Adam, he still was perfect in that state, just like the elect. Even though the Lord caused it, that's why I read Romans 11. Even though Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi had the elect be in a state of unbelief, being in what? That dead state, Revelations 11, okay, Ezekiel 37, they still are perfect. That's why you got to read 1 John or 2 John, dealing with what he said, those, or St. John chapter 1. He said, those who are born of Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi, they sin not. Even though we are in a body of sin, you gotta have understanding. So Yahawashi, even though he was Adam and he had to make it where we fail as a people as a whole, he still was perfect in that state because he didn't what? Transgress the word of the Lord. He never transgressed the word of the Lord. That's why I read Sirach 33 and Sirach 39. Everything is perfect. Everything, even Shaitan or Hashatan, the Satan or the adversary, Hashatan is Hebrew, the adversary, him doing what he's doing, he don't transgress the word of the Lord. You can read that in Kings. Okay? The Lord, everything has to run by the Lord before it's executed and manifested in the earth. So everything, that means everything is perfect. It says, but not as the offense, so also is the free gift. For if through the offense of one may many be dead, much more the grace of Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi and the gift by grace, which is by one man, Yahawashi HaMashiach, have abounded unto many. That's why, what did the Lord say? I'm not going to get it, but what did the Lord say? He said what? He said, I have the keys to heaven and hell. The Lord came to embody that. That was the whole purpose, to show that he's true power. That's why he has something called night and day. You see, because he pushed he put that into the world so that he can ultimately show the world that he conquered that, because he ultimately is the power of it all. See, and you say, well, that don't make sense. Well, you still got why you think you got Jake in the world saying all why you think you got all these doctrines in the world? Okay, and the way that Jake pushing, the way they think, they think in a certain way because that's why the Lord is so beautiful, because they were going to think this way regardless. So the Lord had to do it like this so that it could ultimately show, in a sense, prove himself. But he don't even have to do that. But he doing this to really show that he's the true power. That's why he said our people worship he said who Romans he said who worship the creation more than the creator. All right. But and roughly paraphrasing, and then the Lord said, "What you worship? Because we'll create a water bottle, and Jacob fuck around and worship this damn water bottle. You know what I'm saying? So we worship the things that you have more power over. You worship the creation more than the creator. So the Lord ultimately, I had this set up so beautifully, bro. It says 16, and not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift. For the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift is of many offenses until justification. Right? Meaning that it all was ordained by one entity. It says, for by one man's offense, death reigned by one. Much more they which receive the abundance of grace and of the gift of righteousness shall reign in life by one, Yahawashi HaMashiach. Therefore, as by the offense of one, judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one, the free gift, come on, sweet. So by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose. For as by one man's disobedience, many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. That's the point. That's the point. The point was to separate. That's what the Lord is. He's a separatist. We read it in Sirach 33. Yahawashi separates. He believes in separation because that's balance. You don't have a thing called a deer lion, where a deer is mating with a lion. You have, even in a family of cats, a lion is a cat, a tiger is a cat, a kitten is a cat, right? You have many versions of cats, but you have its own form. Like a lion is a lion, a tiger is a tiger, a cheetah is a cheetah. You know, so you have everything has its essence and its own formation. Okay, you have a chosen people and you have a wicked. You have a man, you have a woman. So in Esau's kingdom, he's trying to merge everything. You got a thing called you got dogs mating with pigs and shit. You know, he's hybrid. He's mixing dogs and he's mixing this animal and that animal, creating new species. He's trying to say man and man. You know I go to alphabet community and I don't want to get strike. But you get the point. So that's how you know we're in a wicked rulership. It says for 18, it says, therefore, as by the offense of one, judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life. That's the point. For as by one man's disobedience, many were made sinners, right? The 2/3, right? Isaiah 65, he said, I numbered you to the sword. What is the number of the beast? 666. 2/3 of our people is 666. So he automatically numbered our people with the sword to get the same judgment as their oppressor, because that's how it was going to go. It's going to have to be. The Lord, he don't need large numbers to get his message across. We look at the story of Gideon. He used I think it started off with, like, I could be wrong, but it's like, what, 5,000 men? Then it transitioned to 300, and then he killed. Oh, he probably was more than 5,000, but then it transitioned to 300, and then he killed thousands of people. They were able to defend themselves. Come on, man. They was able to defend themselves with just 300 people, which is where you get the movie 300 from. So the Lord don't need large numbers. That's why he got a remnant, 144,000, and a large multitude of men, women, and children. The 144,000 is the governing body. He's going to set up that righteous government, man. Me and Yaquam just went into this yesterday, dealing with Esau's government. It says, for as by one man's disobedience, many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. All right? Now watch this real quick. Let me get a few precepts real quick. We're gonna come back to Romans 5. All right, let's get Revelations real quick, and then we're gonna close out after I get these few precepts, because I ain't want this to be that long, but it is what it is. Revelations 22 and 13. It says, "I am Alpha and Omega." Now this is the Greek way to say it, but it really says Aleph or A and the Tha, or Aleph and the Tha, right? Which is in Hebrew the first and the last, the beginning and the end. The first and the last. Now, how do you prove that this is talking about Yahawashi? Because the Father, his name is Yahweh, right? Which means he is, or he is to be, or he exists. So how do I prove that this is talking about Yahawashi? Real quick. Colossians, because the Yahawashi is the first and the last. He's the first creation. It says, this is Colossians 1 and 12. Let's start at 13. Who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible power, for the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, by him all things consist. So that's talking about Yahawashi in Revelation 22. He's the first and the last. Okay, meaning, we're going to get it here in a second. Dealing with what? He's the one that conquered that death. Okay? He's the one that conquered death. which is why Esau's mad and he's trying to keep us in a dead state. Well, Yahawashi came to conquer that death in that mind, in the way, in that whole frame of mind, because your mind is connected to your soul slash spirit. Okay, so as a man, it said the scriptures say, "What so as a man thinketh, so is he." This is John 19, real quick. This is John 19, and verse 30. It says, "When Yahawashi therefore had received the vinegar, he said, 'It is finished.' And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost, gave up the spirit." What is finished? When he was Adam, the things he had to do in order to have prophecy come to pass, he said it's finished. Because he finally conquered that state, man. Which is now the Lord is able to give us the spirit and to have us to fulfill the last parts of prophecy, which is coming back into the right state of mind, repenting, us coming back to who we are. This Lord said it was your mind to go astray, so being returned, seek him 10 times harder. Baruch 4:28. So if you go to real quick, let's go to 1 Corinthians 15. It says, let's go to verse. Man, this chapter is so crazy, bro. But we're gonna start in the meat, like dead smack in it. Let's start at 16. For if the dead, for if the dead rise not, then is not Hamashiach raised. This is the point, Akim. This is the point. It says, for if the dead rise not, then is not Hamashiach raised. Right. So Yahawashi sacrificed himself. He became the ultimate lamb without blemish. Right. Sacrificed himself so that he can redeem us that was in a dead state, because he had to put us through that state so other things can come to pass. So now being in that state, he had to also put himself in that state. Where can you read that in the scriptures? Hebrews 2. It behooved him to be made like his brother, so that he can conquer the state that we are in, so that we can ultimately be brought back to the state we were in before the state we fell to, the sons of God. Okay. The fallen angels, in a sense. Okay, we were the angels who made it with the daughters of men, the nations, women and children. It says, for the dead rise not, then is not Hamashiach raised. Okay, and if Hamashiach be not raised, your faith is in vain, right? Because it's ultimate. And what is the faith? Faith is the spirit. This is how you activate the true spirit side. It says ye are yet in your sins. So we would have been no hope for us. Okay? Then they also which are fallen asleep in Hamashiach are perished. If in this life only we have hope in Hamashiach, we are all of men most miserable. You see? But now is Hamashiach risen from the dead and became the first fruits of them that slept. So he's the first of the kind. He's the first of his kind, meaning he's the first of the ones that conquered death, which the elect are going to conquer death. The Lord said there will be some here that should not taste of death. I believe it's in the same chapter later down in a moment. You see what I'm saying? So, it says, keep going. It says, but now is Hamashiach risen from the dead and become the first fruits of them that slept. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead, which is why Yahawashi, because he was in the flesh, right, as Adam, but he had to come back in the flesh to destroy what he had to do in the previous flesh. Okay, it says by man came also the resurrection of the dead. So that's how the resurrection is able to be applied, because why? Through man, and he resurrected the dead, because the bodies we dwell in is death. For as in Adam all die, right, the first Adam, even so in Hamashiach shall all be made alive, right? So even so in Hamashiach shall all be made alive. Why? Because it's one way, and it's just one way. He said, by one man this happened, and by one man this happened. right? Because it's the same man, it's the same spirit. But every man, in his own order. That's the point. Yahawashi's order is to do what we're going in tonight. He had to be the first Adam and he had to be the last Adam. He can only fulfill that lot. It says but every man in his own order, just like the elect, just like Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi told Daniel in Daniel 12. He says, stand in thy lot until the end of days. Every man in his own order. They have their lots. Just like Paul. If you don't believe me, think about what Paul used to do. Paul, before his name was Saul, before it was Paul, what did he do? He persecuted the church. Acts 26, Acts 22, Acts, I believe, 9. He persecuted the church. Okay? But Yahawashi, he was always called. He was he was a wicked Pharisee at the time, man. Putting us in jail and so forth, man. They was killing the church and everything, man. But what happened? He was already called. So does that mean Paul is wicked? No, man. No. The Lord has balance, and he did that so he could push true repentance, and he could push faith, and he could push the message, the gospel. That's why the Lord had Paul do the things he did. What about David? Okay? Why did the Lord change Saul, have Saul be who he was, and then have him be not who he was? To the point that Saul was seeking the Lord so crazy, he went to a damn witch to call a prophet back into the world. You see? Because he couldn't connect with the Father no more. So this is the mind. This is what the Lord had happen so other things can play out. So the wicked can be deemed as wicked and the righteous can be deemed as righteous, ultimately showing the balance and power of Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi. But every man in his own order. So Yahawashi is what? Fulfillment. That's why he said, I just brought it out in John chapter 19 and verse 30. The Lord said, it is finished. What is finished? The Lord's lot. He came to do what he came to do in his order. Hamashiach, the first fruits. So he can be the first fruit of us being in that state. What state, you might ask? Us being risen from that dead state, being transformed by the renewing of our mind, ultimately transitioning. I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 15. I'm going to keep that where it's at, but I'm in the book. I'm going to jump down to 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Right? Because in order to enter into those chariots, like you read in Revelations 11, Revelations 18 and 4, it says what? That we're going to be beamed up, come up hither. In order to be in those chariots, we have to be changed. That goes into my vision that I had in 2018. I was around all them people, all them wicked vibrations, and they tried to get me. They tried to attack me. The Lord beat me up in a chariot. And then before I could enter the chariot, he woke me up. But I literally remember when I was being beamed up in that chariot, I felt me changing. Like I was changing into something else. And it was a light. It was a bright light, and I was being beamed up, and I was being changed. So the Lord is saying that before we can even enter into his presence, because he's pure, he's righteous. Righteous is immortal. Wisdom of Solomon 1:15. We have to be changed. You see, so I pray it makes sense. So Hamashiach had to do what he had to do so that he can be the first of its kind in all aspects, because he's the one that created everything anyways. So he had to be the one fulfill that essence of it, that formation of it, so that everything else falls in line. Why? Because it's order. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and 3. It's order. If the Lord had it any other way, that would be going against the order. How else would we be changed? How else everything makes sense? Afterward, it says, afterward, they that are Hamashiach, at his coming. You see? So that the Lord can be the first, and then we follow after him. Then cometh the end. You see, so it says, then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and authority and power. For he must reign till he have put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. You see? That's the point. Let's jump down real quick. Let's jump down to 42. It says, so also is the resurrection of the dead.
It is sown in corruption. It is raised in uncorruption. Hold on. That's a heavy That's a heavy verse. It says, so also the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. So the Lord he sold it in corruption so that it can what? It is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power. Does that mean Yahawashi was these things? Does that mean he was weak and he was corrupted? No, it was sown that way so that he can raise it in power. It was sown that way so that he can raise it in glory. It was sown that way so that he can raise it from corruption to incorruption. Just it's like a workout. Like it's the greater experience and the greater moments in life are after the rough patches or after the rough goal, the hard times and the hard work. That's when everything else is appreciated more than it just being given. Because the Lord could have just gave it to us. But he made us earn it in a sense so that it could be much more appreciated, so he could be much more appreciated. It says, it is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. You see, Yahawashi gave us that natural body, which was Adam, and then he gave us a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. You see? It says, and so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. Right? The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. The first of the kind was made a living soul, and the last of his kind was made a quickening spirit. When you go into that word quickening, it means what? Made alive. Alive. An alive spirit. Okay? One that can be broken. It says, howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual, the balance. The first man is of the earth, so the Lord came in the earthly form, earthy. The second man is Yahawashi HaMashiach, from heaven, meaning what? In a glorified state, perfection. The Lord was perfect in the body of sin. Like, let me clarify that. The shell he came in is subject to sin, but he was perfect while upholding this form of body, but in like in his image. But the Lord came in his perfection to the point that when you touch his feet, even though he looked like us in the body in his formation, he came in his fullest essence just in a lower version. Remember the scripture say he was made lower than the angels, right? Because he came in the flesh. You see, but he's higher than the angels because he's the firstborn. He created everything. So the Lord, I'm trying to clarify so I won't stumble nobody up. So the Lord came in that body in the image of us to secure us, like it says in Hebrews 2. But to the point that he was still so holy that when you touch his garment, you touch his feet, you get healed. The Lord spit on the ground and balled the clay up and put it on the man's eye, and it healed his eyes, man. You see, that's how pure he was. His spit was holy, man. The second man is Yahawashi HaMashiach, from heaven, from the Shemayim. As is the earthy, so such are they that are earthy. That's the point. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. So the Lord can separate the two, so you won't misunderstand who's the holy and who's the wicked. That's why it's easy to understand that the 1948ers, the ones that call themselves us, to identify them as not us, because he showed that their fruit will be nothing but earthy. And the heavenly, that's why the Lord told you in Revelations 2 and 9 that I know thy works. He said, and thy poverty, but I know thy tribulations, thy works, thy poverty, but thou art rich, right? And I know the works of them that say they are Israelites or Jews, but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, meaning the chief house of Satan. Even though the Lord was talking about Israelite, that applies to Esau, Edom. 49, and as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. That's the point. So now you appreciate that exercise even more. Okay? Even more. It says, jumping back up to 45, it says, and so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit, meaning alive. Let's get real quick. John 6. You see? John 6 and 63. It says, it is the spirit that quickeneth, meaning make alive, the flesh profiting nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. You see? It says, but there are some of you that believe not, for Yahawashi HaMashiach knew from the beginning. How did he know from the beginning? Because he was the first of our kind, who they were that believe not, who should betray him. Okay? So this is what this whole message of Yahawashi being Adam was about, man. So this is what this whole thing was about. If you go to let's go back. Like I said, that's all you really needed. So let's go back to Romans 5 and close out. Because this is the balance of Yahawashi HaMashiach. I mean, Yahawashi Yahawashi through Yahawashi HaMashiach. Where was we at? Let's jump up. Let's jump back to 18. Therefore, as by the offense of one, judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life. For as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Moreover, the law entered, that the offenses might abound, but where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. That's the point. That as sin have reigned unto death, even so might grace reign through righteousness unto eternal life. By who? Hamashiach Yahawashi. Yahawashi Hamashiach. Our Adawan. Alright? Meaning Lord. Says that as sin have reigned unto death, even so might grace reign through righteousness. You see? So ultimately what? When you got righteousness, you got grace. Okay, so we're in a form of righteousness right now through our apostles and elders, a great millstone, the men that the Lord have set up. And the scriptures tell you in John, let me grab it real quick. What's that? John 5 or John 6? John 5 and 33. I sent you to reap that wherein ye bestow no labor. Other men labor, and ye are entered into their labors. So right, so we are entered into the labors. We are entered into the labor of Yahawashi HaMashiach, but ultimately that's the ultimate. But we are entered into our apostles and elders, a great millstone, their labors. You see what I'm saying? Their works that the Lord have had them do. Hebrews 11. Through faith, the elders obtained a good report. I said Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11. Through faith, the elders obtained a good report. All right, so Lord, what is edifying, man? I didn't want this to be that long. I really wanted this to be a quick hit because you can go in deep about it, but I just wanted to show the balance between the Lord and why Yahawashi had to fulfill that lot of Adam and why he came in his fullness the second time to balance it out that night and that day. What do you think night, like I've been going into, why do you think Esau is considered the night? Because Yahawashi made him the night. And that was Satan, and he made us the light. The Lord said, a city that's set on a hill cannot be hid. You are the light of the world. So there you have it, man. And then the next part will be Yahawashi as a Melchizedek, the high priest of the heaven, because we are under the order of Melchizedek, man. And we're gonna get into that. That's the priesthood of the heavens, man. So we got brothers, not even brothers, you got Israelites saying Yahawashi wasn't Melchizedek, but that's the priesthood in the heavens. All right, man. But anyways, we're gonna get into that in part 2 and part 3. We're going to go into Isaac and so forth, all right? So with that, Lord willing, was edified. Again, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. That will honor us again to our apostles and our elders, a great millstone, who will teach us sound doctrine, being a great example to the ministry in the body, Yahawashi, Yahawashi, strong shalom, to the hopeful elect and the rest of the large multitude of men and children, that the Lord will have mercy on these last days. Brother Chadashua Wakah, again, peace and blessings to the elect, scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth. Shalom.